This is the Athi River, which is the second largest river system in Kenya. It drains a 70,000 square kilometer basin area that extends all the way from central Kenya islands to the coast. The river discharges into the Indian Ocean through an estuary at Malindi, and it is the second largest river system in the country, with a river discharge ranging all the way from 0.5 cubic meters per second to more than 1,000 cubic meters per second during the high flow conditions. What we are seeing now is what we can say is a medium flow conditions. The water level normally rises more than this during the flood conditions. If you watch very carefully, you'll see that on the banks of the river, we have a lot of trapping of plastic materials. That is the solid waste. And these materials normally emanate from the city of Nairobi. The rivers that passes through the city of Nairobi, such as Nairobi River, Ngong River, they tend to carry a lot of solid waste from the city, and most of those materials are normally discharged into the Athi River. So you can see on the banks of the river, there's a lot of deposition of plastic materials. There's a lot of deposition of plastic materials where the river level was quite high. The brown color of the river is an indication of high transport of suspended sediments. Suspended sediments coming from the degraded river basin. Most of the river basin of the Athi is degraded. There has been a lot of deforestation, a lot of overgrazing. There is overstocking of livestock in the basin, and this tends to cause overgrazing. So during the dry season, the soil is normally exposed, and the runoff normally takes most of the soil to the river system, and that's why the river water is very turbid, brown in color because of high sediment concentration. There is a dam that is under construction in the lower part of this particular section, the Chocking Dam, and that construction of that particular dam is poised to cause a major change in the hydrology of the Athi River in terms of the dynamics of flow of this particular river. It is expected that following the damming of this particular river at Chocking, there will be major changes in terms of the trapping of sediments, and also the flow of the river downstream will change. We expect that the sediment load of the river will reduce drastically downstream to Malindi, because most of the sediments are going to be trapped within the dam that is going to be constructed. This is the bridge that connects Machakos County to Kitui County. And you can see the deposition of plastic materials. Some of them have been trapped on top of trees when the water level was quite high. So in addition to the problem of high sediment transport, there's also the problem of high transport of solid waste all the way from the city of Nairobi, and particularly the plastics which cannot decompose. And you can see that most of them are normally deposited on the sides of the riverbank when the water level becomes high. So we can also argue that most of the suspended solids, including also the plastics that are transported during the flood flow conditions, particularly the solid waste, they come during the time when the river water level is quite high, and that is during the flood flow conditions.